Okay, everybody. Hi there. How are you? Got a question about the Copilot workshop? And yes, it is starting now. Hi there, Tuba, Doctors, ZS. Hi, everybody. How's the connection quality? Is it okay? Excellent. I'm glad that you're all able to join and welcome for this Copilot workshop. I'm Steven. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, and I'm really excited for today. And first, I want to talk to you a little bit about what is Copilot. So it's basically an AI assistant for your programming, and it can be integrated right into your code environment. Here's a few examples of things you can do. So just take a look at those. And actually, based on these prompts, I want you all to try on your own to make a comment in the chat about what a possible Copilot prompt might look like. So I'll put my own as well. So here's mine: create a starter framework for an NPM application. So maybe I want some help learning NPM and how to deploy with that framework. Thanks very much. This is a Dodgers cap from the Los Angeles Dodgers. So go Dodgers. Does anybody else want to share their prompt? Complete the var2 function in some language. I really like that. Jean-Marie says, get me out of NPM. Good point, honestly. How to reduce the file size of node modules. Yeah, you can ask questions too in Copilot, and we'll look at that a little bit as well. Great job, everyone. All right, we're going to move on here. So the reason you might want to use GitHub Copilot is because it makes you a faster coder. Check out this survey here. You can be more productive and efficient and satisfied when you're coding, and turn 24 hours into something in flow. So let's first talk about setting up GitHub Copilot. This is really important. You actually may have free access to Copilot and not even know it because you might be a student. So let's go through it now. All right, so does anyone have a favorite text editor? I want to hear yours. Send it in the chat. Let's hear it. Lots of people saying VS Code. Some Vim. Pranav says Vim. Bob Blaze says Notepad. That's my favorite one. Yeah, I'm pretty much a VS Code person myself. But Copilot can work in basically any of these text editors. Yeah, and so you can also use command line for GitHub Copilot, just to let you know. So if you don't already have a text editor, you can get started with VS Code. There's a free download at code.vs.com, visualstudio.com, excuse me. And you can install the Copilot extension. So you could use install extension in the command palette, or you could click on that little puzzle piece on the left-hand side of the application. And that's another way to install the Copilot extension. And you'll want to search for GitHub Copilot in your extension store. those exact words, and you'll want to download the extension that has the most downloads. So there's going to be a few that pop up, but you want that one with the most downloads. I'll show you it. Here it is. So go ahead and click install. I'll just give you all a few minutes to install this extension, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on my computer when it's totally installed. Let's take a look. All right, so I actually have this code that builds a GIF animation using a bunch of pictures. So here it is, take a look, and you can see in the bottom right corner, there's an icon that says the little Copilot logo. Check it out. And when you click, when you click on that icon, you get to GitHub chat, so you can actually talk to the Copilot prompts. But that just shows you that you've done it right. If you can click on that icon, it works. All right, installing with you, Tuba, Concha, Omidada. Excellent work. And so let's move on to the next slide here. So we're actually going to be using what's called the GitHub Student Developer Pack, and it's actually free for students. So if you have a student ID, that will work for this. You'll want to visit the link https:/hackpack/pack. So I'll paste that in the chat as well. And this is how you get it. All right. So if you haven't already gone to this link, I'm going to go now and check it out. And we have some questions, actually. I applied a few months ago with my college mail ID, but didn't get any response. I highly recommend emailing GitHub about that, emailing their support staff, because that's not normal. You should be able to get it within a day or two. At least that's been my experience. And another question, what if you don't have uni email? Well, that's another good one. And if you don't have uni email, you're going to have to find GitHub. You can use the Copilot trial. So the free trial works as long as you have a credit card. You can get a month free, and you can follow along with the workshop. All right, so sorry, I just wanted to pull up this website for you all so you can see exactly where you download this free pack. So you would go to the pack, go to that link for GitHub Student Developer Pack, and you want to click on Get Student Benefits. It's this green button in the left side here. So you click that.
This will be your last final.
All right, so once you've authenticated like I just did, you'll have to fill out this form to verify your age, your diploma, things like that. Paste in your school, and you may even need to give them your transcript, and then it should work. One question, I have two GitHub accounts that I use separately, and I use my personal one. Can I connect these accounts? I think actually you would need to talk to GitHub support about that because I'm not familiar with it, but I recommend using your school GitHub for Copilot because you might be able to get those free benefits. All right, but now we're going to move on to using GitHub Copilot. So to start a new project, you'll want to open a new window and select Clone Git Repo. And to clone that project, you use mlh/copilot starter. So this is a repo we've created to help you learn Copilot. You don't need to use it to test it out. Just feel free to use it if you want some starter code to work with. And you can open the app.py file and ask it to explain. So I'm going to ask it to explain on my end as well. Let's answer this question from Tuba. Which option should we use? Allow GitHub Copilot to show suggestions matching public code, or the other one? You can use that number one. That should work. But let's look at explain on my Visual Studio Code. I'll show you right now. All right, so you just go into your code here and you type /explain. So I'll show you. All right, so you can see it'll tell me a little bit about this Python script and what is happening here. And I asked it to focus on the library, so it's doing that right now. And someone asked for the Copilot starter code, so I just put that in there. All right, so we'll go back into the explanation of Copilot, and you can see that to set the code in action, you'll use the following pip install file requirements. And the example here is just a Flask application. So if you're comfortable with Flask, feel free to use the example. But like I said, any code will work. And we have one question from Wild a Beast. This is more ambiguous, but how does this compare in functionality to something like ChatGPT 4? Well, it's actually trained on GPT-4. So it has the similar architecture, but the key difference is it has access to your code and the context of your Visual Studio editor. So it knows all the files that are open at any given time. It knows what you're coding about. And so it has access to that code, and hopefully it can give you more helpful suggestions because of that. That's the idea by Copilot. But that's a really good question. All right, so then to run the Flask app, you just type Python-m flask run --debug. And I'm actually going to paste these commands into the chat so that you have them if you're following along with the example. All right, so there's those commands, and you'll see an error if you try to run this code. So it will actually be fixable with Copilot. Let's check it out. Just type the /fix command, and you'll get there. So I'm going to do that in my terminal as well. Well, I'll run it, see an error, and type fix. Okay, interesting. So it looks like it didn't quite fix my problem, but that's going to happen from time to time with LLM. But I did delete these libraries and see if it would notice the error. But in the case of our files here in the presentation, it does notice the error and it suggests to import those libraries. And our Flask app should now work. So another thing you can do is add to the program. So I'm going to add to my program as well, but in the example, it tells you to just add a route that shows hours since the epoch, in this little timer code that we gave you. So let's go back to my code and I'll show you how I can edit my GIF maker to make the GIF go slower. Let's try that. All right, and you can see Copilot has increased the duration of the mim save method. So it went from 10 to 100, and that's exactly what you want to see here. It's pretty neat, right? So I can accept this change if I want to make the GIF go slower, like my prompt said. And another thing that Copilot can do is auto suggest for you. And this is really cool. I think I just should show you how it works in the editor. But basically, it will auto complete your code for you. So let's take a look at my code editor and we'll just see it in action a little bit. Okay, so check that out. Copilot just coded up this for loop for me to save all of my images. And I guess I didn't really need that, but it knows how to automatically suggest what I want. And the more you type, the more accurate the autocomplete will be. Remember, everybody, Copilot makes errors. It's built on the GPT-4 model, so it will write bad code. And it's only trained on code before September 2021 when GPT-4 was released. So it won't know about those newer libraries and APIs. So just keep that in mind while you're hacking away with Copilot. But yeah, highly consider working with this in your next hackathon or your next project. But just remember to ask your professor or the hackathon organizers or whoever's in charge if it's okay to use AI assistants like this. Here's some additional resources for you to check out on your own. But yeah, I'm happy to take any questions you have now that the workshop is complete. This is a good question. Shelbui says, how do you figure out if the code is bad? That's so true. You need to be checking these codes that the AI is making Read them yourself. Make sure that they make sense to you. Don't just trust that the AI knows what you want it to do. And also, of course, running the code and testing it out and seeing if it actually produces the result you anticipate is good too. And Mark Lulisov says, give us some sticker drops. I'm afraid that's not in my power, but I would if I could. Does AI assistance make it too easy to code and make you not learn anything? I suppose that's a philosophical question. It depends on how you use it, I think. If you're going to use AI assistance to complement your learning, that's one thing. If you're going to use AI assistant to try and code a whole application by itself, you'll probably run into some problems, honestly, if you don't understand how the code is working. It may even take you twice as long to use Copilot as you would to just learn it in the first place. So it all depends on how you're using it and whether you're using it on its own or if you're trying to use it as a complement. And that's why it's called an assistant, a programming assistant, right? Yeah, as YS says, AIs are like calculators. They help you, but they don't do the problems for you. Yeah, and lots of philosophical. So Dr. Heidi says, is there a way to make the AI know what mistake it made? That's a really good question and could be honestly a research topic in AI. I think there is a way to have the AI run the code on its own, check the error, and then run it again, modify it over and over like that. But it doesn't, there's no way to guarantee the AI will somehow realize its mistake and fix the problem. But yeah, as Mr. Clueless Op said, you can use the /fix command and tell it, hey, there's something wrong, and it might figure it out. I love this answer by Asad Shabab. So I think that really sums it up well of when should you use AI assistance and in what capacity. As always, our community helping out with some great feedback and answers. All right, another question from Shemery. Even though it's only trained to 2022, isn't it learning from more and more input? It's actually not because it would need to be retrained on that input. So until it gets retrained, it's not learning anymore. Yeah, although very good question. And it can learn, it can be fine-tuned. So GPT-4 can be fine-tuned as it is with Copilot. That's a very cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for your time today. It was great to meet you and run this workshop. Unfortunately, this workshop's not 1 hour long, but maybe that'll give you a little break until next time, which is with Dimmer, who will be doing setting up a containerized developer environment. So I'll paste the link for that in chat.